The first time I held a Desert Eagle, I managed to take down a powerful steel boar with a single shot. That wasn't luck. It was my gift as a sharpshooter, the ability to master any ranged weapon with ease. That same night, after Jin Suho and I defeated the demon, Yoon Seong-ah secretly entered the Tower of Heroes. The tower houses detailed records of the nation's top talents, and sneaking in was a punishable act. Her guild members worried about the risks, but she dismissed their concerns. She claimed she only wanted to review the day's attack footage. In truth, she had discovered a light attribute spirit lingering on the demon's corpse. The existence of such a person meant someone out there carried that rare power, and she was determined to recruit them into her guild. After reviewing the recordings, she confirmed that the ones responsible were 3 students from the academy. She already had her eye on Jin Suho and China Yoon, but the third name, Kim Ha-jin, was new to her, yet strangely familiar. A few days later, I went about school life as usual. Recently, I realized something unusual. No one else could see my laptop. Thanks to that, I could freely monitor each character's current status. Even more, the laptop had gained a new function. It automatically detected real-time changes to people's attributes. For instance, after being humiliated by Rachel, Damien's confidence had plummeted. The system worked within a 30-meter radius, instantly alerting me if anything strayed from the original novel's setting. Far more efficient than waiting for delayed updates from the so-called co-author. As I was deep in thought, Na-yoon suddenly appeared behind me, her face dark with anger. She demanded a sparring match. I knew exactly why. She still hadn't forgiven me for insulting her brother. I refused, warning her that my gun was loaded with live rounds, and any injury would bring the wrath of our instructor. My words only fueled her rage. Thankfully, the instructor arrived in time, ordering her back to her seat and reminding me I wasn't allowed to duel classmates. I felt guilty afterward, and had considered apologizing. But with what I'd learned about the demon race, eliminating Chai Jin-yu had become my top priority. Until that day comes, no reconciliation with Na-yoon could erase the hatred she'd feel once she learned the truth. That evening, after training, we attended a grand welcome party hosted by the academic club. The president, Yoon Hyun, stood on stage, elegant, confident, drawing blushes from many juniors. To them, she was the perfect role model. To me, it was all a facade. Her charisma and grace weren't natural. They were the powers of seduction, granted by a pact with the demon Lilith. In reality, Yoon Hyun was a demon herself, and the mastermind behind the early tragedies at the academy. The disappearances, the monster invasions, all of it. And now, her greedy eyes had locked onto a new target, Ryu Yeonha. I joined the academic club for the same reason, and he decided to give the freshmen a taste of their discussion sessions. He introduced a mid to high level monster, known as the Mountain Moon Tyrant. In both academic and guild circles, information about high-level monsters is extremely valuable. Details about their weak points can sell for billions. Suddenly, Yin Xuan posed a question. What is the weak spot of the Mountain Moon Tyrant? And he called on Liu Yanxia to answer. Caught off guard, she replied that no one had discovered the creature's weakness yet. To her surprise, that was the correct answer. Yin Xuan explained that these kinds of debates were the real fun of their club. As the meeting ended, he encouraged students to stay if they wished to discuss further. When the event wrapped up, I noticed Yanxia leaving and asked if she was heading to the follow-up session. She ignored me at first, but when I addressed her again, she finally responded. She admitted she might attend. Perhaps she could gather some useful intel. That gave me a clue about her intentions. Calmly, I suggested she wanted to pass that intel to the Essence Straight raid team. The remark stopped her in her tracks. The Essence Straight Guild, founded 50 years ago after a massive mana explosion, had risen under her family's leadership to become one of the most powerful guilds in the nation. But recently, their vice commander had been gaining influence, enough to even threaten the rightful heir. Maybe that's why Yanxia, usually so reserved, was attending this event. Puzzled, she asked what I really meant. I came straight to the point. I can tell you the Mountain Moon Tyrant's weak spot. She was shocked, stammering at my words. Without hesitation, I revealed that behind its heel was a tiny blue mark. Strike it, and the beast would be immobilized. But I made it clear the information wasn't free. If my intel proved correct, I wanted her to get me a Desert Eagle pistol from the guild's armory. After all, her guild controlled it. Yanxia pressed me for evidence, any data to back my claim, and said I had none. Disappointed, she fell silent. For a moment, I could see her regretting even engaging with me, certain she had wasted her time. As she walked away, I called after her, urging her to believe me, just once. If she did, I knew she would eventually stand by my side. Instead of joining the club's activities, Yanxia went to a quiet spot and contacted the guild secretary. She asked them to relay a single message to the raid team. During the next battle with the Mountain Moon Tyrant, they should focus on the small blue mark behind its heel. Hanging up, she felt utterly ridiculous, as though she had lost her mind. Days passed. I considered asking the academy for an advance, but when I opened my account with the Cube Bank, my blood ran cold. I was drowning in debt. Somehow, I owed the academy 3 billion. The maximum a student was allowed to borrow. Only 300 million remained of that sum. I couldn't believe it. What on earth had Kim Chun-dong done with all that money? At this rate, forget about returning to my world. I'd be stuck here paying debts for a lifetime. I had no choice. I needed to grow stronger, and at the same time, I had to start earning. Right now, there were only 2 legal ways to make serious money. The first was investment. Towers and dungeons continue appearing all over the world. Any guild that discovers and successfully clears one gains the status of a corporation. Investing early in such guilds can bring unimaginable returns once they go public. I already knew which guilds would eventually rise, but I had no capital to invest. That plan would have to wait. For now, my only option was the second path, hunting monsters in the fields and selling their remains for money. Unlike towers and dungeons, hunting grounds are dangerous zones already mapped out. By selling monster corpses, one can earn cash quickly, but my stats had only just reached the level of an average adult male. Even if I used SP points for temporary boosts, my training pistol was no match for the thick hides of those beasts. While I was still racking my brain for a solution, the doorbell rang. Outside stood a courier, holding a package addressed from Liu Yanxia. I was stunned. Why would she send me something? Curious, I stepped out and found a suitcase. Slowly opening it, I was shocked by what lay inside. Because of what Yanxia sent me, the very next day, I headed to the Ju province hunting grounds. The area was known for its relatively low danger level, making it busy year-round. Hunters from all over the world gathered there. Streets were crowded with parties forming teams, or trading after successful hunts. Looking at the bustling scene, I realized I needed an agent, someone who could handle sales and maximize profits from monster materials. Just as I was considering randomly finding one nearby, a man approached me on his own. When I confirmed I was indeed looking for an agent, he quickly handed me his business card. One glance at his name, and I was hooked. He was Park Soo-hyuk, agent to none other than Kim Soo-ho. He explained honestly that his agency had only recently opened. Without hesitation, I decided to sign a contract with him. After all, this world was still in its early chapters. Building connections with people who would later become legends was an investment in itself. With my new agent secured, we set off for the hunt. What surprised me was that Soo-hyuk chose to accompany me inside. Most agents, especially those without vehicles, usually waited outside the hunting grounds. On the way, he impressed me by identifying a monster just from a footprint, calling it a mischief goblin, and even listing its traits and market value. But soon after, a steel boar appeared, sending him into shock. He admitted straight away that ordinary firearms couldn't even pierce its hide. I, however, was eager to try. After all, the intel I had shared with Liu Yanxia about the Mountain Moon Tyrant's weakness had proven accurate. Yesterday, I received her package. Inside was the Desert Eagle pistol I'd requested, enhanced with SP settings. Without hesitation, I raised the gun and fired. The shot tore clean through the steel bore. It collapsed instantly. Soo-hyuk stared wide-eyed, disbelief and awe written all over his face. His reaction said it all, and as for me, I couldn't have been more satisfied.